Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about how to sell a fake and how to read a fake. So it's going to be like two parts of the video, and I'm going to show you a strategy that you can use as a fake in DE Cash as an example of how to sell a fake. So when you're actually trying to sell a fake, what you have to do is you have to kind of build it based off of another strat that you run, that the team will think that you're actually running that other strat. For example, we can have a strat where we actually attack A. So we're going to attack the A bomb site. We're going to do a couple of smokes on middle. And then what this is going to do is it's going to make the A guy come and try to support middle, because there's a bunch of smokes and flashes here. And then at the same time as that, we're also going to actually throw a couple of smokes over at the A bomb site. And what this will do is it will give the opportunity for the terrorists to actually come out and make a play on this bomb site. The terrorists are going to come out with a flash. They're going to come and they're going to be able to kill the players, the CT players, who actually came over to mid to support mid. They're going to be running back, and the terrorist players are going to come out and be right in their face. So this is a good strategy for the terrorists to run, because it pulls the counter-terrorists out of position, and then the terrorists are able to get in their faces by attacking aggressively when the counter-terrorists aren't paying attention to exactly what's going on. Now, if I wanted to build a fake off of this, what I'd have to do is basically do the same set smokes at the start of the round, but instead of going A and attacking A, I would do the same smokes, but then I'd end up attacking B. So on this full strat, what I'll do is I'll show you the full strat. So the full strat would look like this. Two players come over middle, they do the smokes, they throw flashes over middle, and they run up A main, and they're going to get ready to go out. While this is happening, we have two players outside of A, one doing a smoke that lands at quad, and I'll show you where the smokes land in a second, and one guy who's smoking towards CT spawn. So these smokes will come over top, and they will go into their respective areas, and what will happen is the player who does this quad smoke will come over here, do the smoke, and the timing of it is that as soon as he gets to this point here, he is going to set up a pop flash. Okay? So when he sets up this pop flash, he's going to come out with the other two players who threw the mid smokes and the fifth player who I haven't spoken about yet, and they're going to come out, and there's going to be smoke on the floor here, and they're going to come out and they're going to be able to wrap the site and kill anyone who's at highway. Now, if they wanted a fake off of this, what they need to do is the same smokes at middle at the start, 1 and 2. The players then need to do the same flashes over mid. So maybe two deep flashes, maybe a deep flash and a close flash. Then instead of going towards A, they have to walk silently towards B, okay? And it's very crucial that they walk towards B so that the enemies who are pushed up, maybe they're pushed up in middle, maybe they're pushed up in checker room, they don't actually hear the players rotating to the B side of the map. What needs to happen after that is after the smokes and flashes bloom and pop, the A players throw the A smoke and flashes. So this player will come here and do the same pop flashes as before. But what's different this time is the players are actually going to be walking towards B, and then as soon as the smokes and flashes go off at A, what the counter-terrorists are doing at this point is they see the smokes and flashes mid, they come mid, they get ready to challenge mid, the smokes and flashes go off A, the player's rotating back. What happens at this point is now the B player, off the start of the smokes and flashes over at middle, has now shifted over towards middle. And now, at that point, he should be shifting up here to come and help A with the smokes and flashes going off A. And that's the timing that you want to do when you actually hit the B bomb site. So when you think logically about all the smokes and flashes going off, what you need to do when you're setting up the strat is find out how long it takes if I throw the smoke and I throw it at, let's say I throw it at 45 on the clock at the top. It takes me 5 seconds to get to here to throw this flash. Maybe I'll throw another one. So right there, that's 10 seconds, okay? So in that timing of 10 seconds, what will happen is I'm a B player. Let's say at 25 is when the smokes and flashes go off and my teammates call it, okay? Here's 10 seconds. 2. That's where they get. So as soon as I throw the smokes and flashes, as a counter-terrorist rotating out of B, I would end up at the CT spawn track. So, as a terrorist when I'm hitting B, that's where I need to know the enemy is most likely going to be. There's still probably one person in the site, but then the other players should be already over at A. 10 seconds after the flashes and smokes were thrown over at A. That's the timing that you want to hit the actual strat, or execute the strat. At this point, the 5th player, instead of going A main at the start, he'll actually come outside of B at the start. If there's a smoke down, he can cross into somewhere safe. And then when you execute the strategy, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a smoke going off at the rotator position, because now we've already moved the counter terrorists out of the site. The counter terrorists aren't in the site, so if they want to come and retake, they'll come to one of 2 rotator positions, one being CT lower, the other being CT upper. Obviously, we've already used 4 smokes earlier on the round. I don't know how to do a smoke. So what we need to do is we only have 1 smoke left, and we have to decide if we want to use it on lower or upper. That's how you want to hit the timings. So the other thing is it needs to be believable. So you can't just throw a bunch of smokes and flashes and just anywhere and just hope it just like makes the counter terrorists think that you're actually hitting the site. You need to make it believable. So it needs to be based off of another strategy that you already have. If you do a bunch of smokes and flashes that you've never done before, except solely on the strat where you do the fake, then people are going to know, oh wait, no, this is different than the other strat they're running. Everything needs to be set up exactly the same way that you run the actual execution. But you don't hit that site. That's the only difference. Everything else has to look exactly the same. Now, what I haven't spoken about during the fake is committing a player. So on the real strat, we'd have the pop flash go off, and then we'd have players come out and actually commit towards the actual site. Now, sometimes it's good to have this player commitment, because that actually sells the fake. You'll hear pros talking about selling the fake. And sometimes having a player come out and get a kill, or at least make noise running there, make noise shooting a weapon, make noise killing a person, that helps selling a fake. So what you could do on the strategy that I just went over is, instead of having both the players who throw the mid smokes run back to B, you have one player who makes footsteps all the way through A main. They get the pop flash, they run out, and they actually try to commit by selling the fake, by creating footsteps, shooting a weapon, and trying to get as many kills as possible. Because if there are no terrorists that actually come into A, the counter terrorists might say, wait, no one's out yet, no one's out yet, no one's out yet. That's where you get to sell double fakes. But double fakes I'll save for another video, as it gets a little bit more advanced than that. You need to be in position at the other side of the map, not making noise. I need to stress this so much. If there's a smoke down here, and on the normal strat, you don't have a player coming outside B, you don't have a player breaking the windows and spamming through the smoke, you cannot have that on the real strat, because that will basically signify to the enemy, if you run the real strat, and then, let's say you do the real strat twice and the fake strat, and there's someone outside on the fake strat, but not on either time during the real strat, they're going to say, wait, it's just a fake this time, it's just a fake this time. You need to be dead silent, and you cannot make any noise whatsoever. So, that is how you can sell the fake. Now, to read the fake, if you're a counter-terrorist, is exactly the opposite of how the fake is set up. So you need to hear and see the smokes and flashes going off mid. But if you're up close on middle as a counter-terrorist, for example, I'm going to turn on sound, even though you can't hear anybody running through here. If the terrorists don't have anyone running out through mid on this, and you have a player up close to mid, you can actually hear and see where they're going. Are they going towards B? Are they walking there? Can you hear them running through lower A? How many people are running through lower A? You need to kind of find out what kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What kind of patterns, I guess for the lack of a better word, that the actual terrorists are making every time they run a strategy. So if you find what their tendencies are, or the patterns that they make are, you're going to be able to find out if it's a real strategy or if it's a fake strategy. And that you find out by hearing how fast do they actually go to a site. Do they make noise when they're actually attacking the bomb site? Are they running in, or are they walking in? Do they flash and then go? How often do they fake? How many players do the commitment to the actual bomb site? Where are the smokes landing? Are the smokes landing different places than normal? Spotting player names is also really huge. If you know that a certain player is kind of the is spotted somewhere on the map, and you know that they are the kind of people that wouldn't be in first on an execute, and you see them, just somewhere else, maybe you say, you know what, this guy's not here, maybe it's fake. Or you see one guy and you say, hey, it's Steele coming in. I think it's just a fake. He's never in first, or he's always, you have to figure out the player tendencies to see who actually commits first on the strategy and where do they go to. And if they kind of deviate from that game plan during their fake, you can try to see and find out if it's a fake or not based off of these tendencies. Also, the timing and the area that the flashes go off. So if I'm a terrorist and I'm actually doing the strategy and I'm throwing the smokes at middle, and then I'm running over here, I'm just throwing 2 deep flashes and running through A main, making all this noise, all this noise, all this noise, all this noise, and then coming here on the actual take, I need to have that as a terrorist doing the fake. If the counter-terrorists are, for example, playing by forklift or playing at highway, and they're listening for the flashes and the smokes or flashes are just mistimed, or you don't hear the footsteps of the terrorist players running through A main, it's safe to say that it could be a fake. Now the problem is you don't know what kind of a fake it is. I showed you one type of fake where the players actually went back to B after the smokes and flashes were thrown. But that's not the only fake that you can do. You can do the same smokes and flashes, but at the start, but then once the terrorists who are outside A do the smokes for A bomb site, once they do these smokes and then the player comes around to do the flash, and the mid player says, oh, it's not mid, and he starts going back to A, it could be B. One of the fakes could be towards B, but as this player is running back towards A to watch the A execute, like the actual A strat, now the terrorists, instead of going back to B, can actually walk out middle. And then they can pop flash highway and actually come up highway and flank A now. Because the counter-terrorists are expecting at mid, then you threw the A smoke, so they go back to A, and you can either do the fake where you go out B, or you do the fake where you go out A and you actually hit up A through highway now. So there's so many ways that you can build off of the setup of the actual execute. I think that's what helps the most in terms of selling a fake, because you want to set it up where it looks legitimate, it looks like the real execute. So all the smokes and flashes and players need to be in the same positions, but it's just that you are able to work around that strategy. You're not committed to only playing a certain way. So you can see where the smokes land here. The smokes are landing blocking off CT spawn, the smokes landing to block off quad box, just like this. Okay? If I threw smokes in different positions instead, let's say I threw smokes if I wanted to do the same type of strat, I can't have a smoke landing at the forklift to block off CT spawn if I want to run the strat, because the whole purpose of the strat is to run up and kill people who are at highway and wrap the bomb site. So I need the smokes to be down at CT spawn in a certain position. That allows me to kind of do fakes where it still pulls people in a certain position, but it doesn't like force me to go a certain direction. For example, if I did an A strat and I didn't smoke off this quad area, I just used smokes and flashes on it and I smoked here instead. Now I need the same Molotovs to go behind quad box and fence for it to actually sell the fake. But the problem with this strat is it doesn't leave me opportunity to actually fake the strat, because I'm only using like 1 smoke here and 2 Molotovs, but I have to peek into an enemy and they could be here with an op and stuff. It makes it really difficult to actually run a fake off of this setup. But having the smokes coming over the wall where I'm actually closer to middle, closer to B, and I can run over to middle or B quickly, I'm not fully committed to like lower A, it allows me to actually run the fake better, because I'm not fully committing myself to be up close and personal to sell the fake with multiple people. For this, I need to have 2 players who are up close to throw the Molotovs and the flashes and actually come out and try to like actually sell something. It makes it a little bit more difficult. So I hope that explains a lot. If something's unclear, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll try to like clear it up, maybe make a separate video kind of addressing some of the points that you guys have to make, and we'll see what else I can do. I'm gonna make a lot more videos like this, and hopefully more clearly, more concisely, and with better editing. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and catch you around.